So you manage a small brand, and I bet you've heard it a million times. Find your niche, build a loyal tribe, right? Well, what if I told you that classic advice might be completely wrong? A really important 2026 study is flipping that whole idea on its head, and we're going to dive into what that means for you. Yeah, I'm talking to you, the one with the tight budget, trying to stretch every single marketing dollar. It's tough out there, and you're probably following the playbook everyone gives you because it just makes sense. But what if that playbook is the very thing leading you astray? Okay, so first things first, let's make sure we're on the same page. When we say a tiny brand, what are we actually talking about? Well, this study has a really simple definition. It's any brand with less than 1% of the market share. That's it. And hey, if you're thinking, yep, that's me, you are in very, very good company. Get this, the research found that a whopping 56%, that's more than half, of all brands in your average consumer goods category are tiny. So whatever challenges you're facing, it's not just you, it's the norm. All right, so we've established that being tiny is pretty normal. So what's the advice everyone gives these brands? It really boils down to one big idea. You know it, the niche strategy. You're told to find your tribe, right? Cultivate your superfans. The idea is to build this little fortress of loyalty with a small, dedicated group and just kind of ignore everyone else. And look, it sounds smart, it sounds safe, especially when you don't have a huge budget. But is it actually right? This is where things get really interesting, because the data comes in and gives us a major reality check. And it's all based on this fundamental, almost unspoken law of marketing that totally goes against that whole niche idea. It's called the double jeopardy law. And it's kind of like a rich get richer situation in marketing. Big brands get a double win. They have tons more buyers, and those buyers tend to be a little more loyal. Meanwhile, small brands get hit with a double whammy. They have way fewer buyers, and those buyers are a little less loyal. The key thing here is that this isn't some newfangled theory. It's a well-established marketing law, and it pretty much blows a hole in the idea that a small brand can survive by having super loyal customers. So this leads to the big, flashing question, right? Are tiny brands the exception to the rule? Does the data show them defying this law? Just happily thriving in their little niches with these super loyal fans? The answer? Not just no. It's the exact opposite. The study found that, as a rule, tiny brands don't have some special excess loyalty. In fact, they actually have a loyalty problem. Yeah, they suffer from something the researchers call deficit loyalty. And all that means is that their current customers are buying them less often than you'd expect, even for a brand their size. So they're not winning on loyalty. They're actually falling behind. And you guys, the scale of this is just, wow. Look at the numbers. A massive 69%, nearly 7 out of 10 tiny brands have this loyalty deficit. And that special niche loyalty we all hear about, only 16% of brands have it. Just let that sink in. For every one brand that's living that niche dream, there are more than 4 others struggling with the opposite. The loyal niche isn't the path. It's a rare, rare exception. Okay, deep breaths. So if the whole niche loyalty thing is basically a myth, a trap even, then how on earth do tiny brands actually grow? Well, the good news is the data gives us a surprisingly clear and honestly, much more hopeful answer. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And to find the answer, the researchers tracked hundreds of brands for 5 whole years. They wanted to see what's the real difference between the brands that grew and the ones that just didn't. And the result is, just look at this. It couldn't be clearer. For the tiny brands that actually managed to grow, the engine wasn't loyalty. It was overwhelmingly about getting more customers. We're talking a 135% jump in penetration. That's just getting new people to try the brand for the first time. Compare that to trying to get your existing customers to buy more often, that only gave them a 26% lift. The real growth, the big win, is in acquisition. So what does this all mean? The big takeaway is simple, but it's so powerful. We need to forget the niche myth. For small brands, real growth is about reach, not just repeat. It's all about getting more and more people to buy you that first time, because that's the only sustainable way to get more people to buy you a second, third, and fourth time. All right, so let's get practical. What does this mean for your strategy right now? It means it's time to escape that niche trap for good. We need a new playbook, one that's actually based on how things work in the real world. So the old myth told us to build a little fortress and defend our tiny patch of turf. But the reality? That's a defensive game, and it's a losing one. The truth is, your tiny brand is out there competing for the exact same buyers as the giants in your category. The whole market. Every single person who buys from your category, that's your potential target. So the new strategy isn't about being special for a handful of people. It's about being available for as many people as possible. And with your limited budget, that means focusing everything on just two things. First, mental availability, basically being easy to think of when someone's ready to buy. And second, physical availability, which is just being easy to find and grab when they go looking for you. So here's your new mission, should you choose to accept it. And it's straight from the data. Stop trying to hide in a niche. Start competing for everyone. Put all your energy, every dollar, into being easy to think of and easy to find. Your main job isn't to make your few customers more loyal. It's to make your customer base way, way wider. That is the true engine of growth. Let's wrap this up with a really powerful idea from the researchers themselves. Your job isn't to build some walled garden for a few exclusive fans. It's to get out into the big, messy marketplace and constantly attract new buyers. And yeah, you're going to share those buyers with the big guys. But that's not a sign you're failing. That's literally the definition of success. That is how brands grow. So get out there and get noticed.